Hello, I'm Renee Pillor, and I'm with Pro-Life Unity. We're so glad you could join us here at the Road to Majority 2015 in Washington, D.C. I have Dean Nelson with me today, and he is the chairman of the Frederick Foundation.
It's a pleasure to be here, Renee. It's great to be at this event and always to be with Pro-Life Unity.
Yes, we have a wonderful group of people here, and today we wanted to ask you, as the chairman and a spokesperson for thousands and maybe more of people who are really concerned about our nation. And we have so many candidates running on the Republican side. A lot of them most are very conservative, but there's so many differences, some minor, some major. What are you thinking from this entire smorgasbord of candidates? How is it coalescing for you? Are there some that you've narrowed it down to?
Well, for us at the Frederick Douglass Foundation, we're always looking for what we would consider righteousness and justice candidates who have demonstrated a strong commitment to the values that we hold as Christians, but not just values of righteousness, but also justice. Are they concerned about those things? And so as we've looked at the spectrum, and we're still looking, I think that we have thought about a few candidates that have at least demonstrated a strong commitment to life, because that's one of the primary platforms for the Frederick Douglass Foundation, is the value of life, because you all know the issue of abortion within the African American community. And so as we look at that, we're thrilled that there is a pro-life African American candidate like Ben Carson who is in, and it helps too that he's a doctor, right? That's something that's interesting, but at the same time we're still looking at candidates. Rand Paul, another doctor who also has done a lot within the African American community with regard to criminal justice. But there are a host of other candidates who have a strong track record on all of the issues, whether it's someone like Ted Cruz or even some candidates who have run before, like Rick Perry. So we're still kind of looking and vetting a lot of different people, but the ones that I have mentioned are certainly those that we're taking a close look at.
The candidates that you mentioned, why don't you elaborate a little bit about one? I'm going to pick out Rick Perry because everybody's heard a lot about him and he's made a mistake in the past, but do you think the American people are ready to go on and forgive that mistake at the debate? It wasn't that major, but it really wasn't good timing.
Yeah, well, I think Americans have demonstrated, time and time again that they're always willing to take a second look at somebody, so I would hope that, because he's someone who has presided over a large portion of the American economy that's grown. I actually go to Texas almost every month now because there's so much prosperity in Texas. And so he's also demonstrated a strong commitment to Christian values. He hosted a huge prayer event a few years ago, as well as has been a strong advocate for life and for marriage. Right. And so when you take somebody like him who one emphasizes the values that we believe in, but also has a sensitivity towards trying to create prosperity for all. I think that those are some of the things that we like to look for, and so he has a proven track record. Other people like Ben Carson or others, I think they've spoken about some of those things, but they haven't necessarily had the level of a track record that someone like Mr. Perry has had.
So Mr. Perry is somebody people are taking a closer look at, would you say again?
Well, I think so.
Yes.
I think so. I would hope so.
Yes.
Just because he does have a good track record. We don't want someone that, let's just say it this way. We want the American people to think about what a person has done holistically, not just how they performed in one debate.
Right. And so moving along to some other candidates, did you want to make a few comments on, say, Ted Cruz? All of these are very pro-life candidates. And going back to Rick Perry, of course, we know that Texas is a very huge leader and has a great stronghold in pro-life issues, and we're very, very happy about that. But we want to look across the board as well. And with Ted Cruz, where do you think you stand on there?
Well, certainly he's a very outspoken advocate for the unborn. He's spoken for some events that we've done, so right. I think that is important for us. But there are other candidates that are equally as outspoken. Marco Rubio,
yes.
I've known of him since he was in the legislature in Florida. He's always been an outspoken pro-life candidate. So I think that it's good that we have a field where most of them are, but I think that there's some other subtleties and nuances that will arise that will help people to say, hey, they're good candidates, but this is the one that I'm coalescing behind, and so we still want to hear from all of them. In fact, we'll be doing a tour throughout this year and part of next year, which will focus on some of the issues that we've mentioned before, whether it's criminal justice or the black family or issues of economic prosperity, and we'll invite many of these candidates to be a part of those discussions so that we can see firsthand what their thoughts are and how they would approach America from the context of a Frederick Douglass candidate.
It's wonderful talking with you. We know that if you were able to vote on one, it would be a great leader. And our president, the next one, will hopefully turn many things around that we've had to suffer through in the last few years. We've had the opportunity now to look at very many candidates, and we're going to continue to scrutinize. And as Christians and as pro-life people, we want to make sure we get that kind of a candidate in the number one position on the road to majority. Tell us about your website. How can people learn more about your organization, your outstanding organization, the Frederick Douglass Foundation?
That's wonderful. Yeah, you can go to tfdf.org. That's tfdf.org. That's for the Frederick Douglass Foundation. And you'll be able to see some new things that we are actually doing at our website to engage not just our members, but all Americans to know more about him and about policies that we believe that will advance America forward.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today.